This is a good place for canid trapping here. Indeed, it's for snaring. The targeted species here are foxes and coyotes. The species to avoid are mainly birds of prey. These are the species that hunt and scavenge by sight. So if they see baits that are visible from the air, they'll try to access them. The way they do this is to land in an opening and then use the little trails that lead to these places. They can cover very long distances. So we have to make sure that, first of all, the bait is not visible from the air to avoid their presence on the site, and secondly, it's in the layout of the snares. We avoid placing snares in the line or on the approach to these baits. So here we can see that the bait was really hidden at the foot of a big tree, a large conifer. You can also see there are lots of branches, so that's going to give us some cover to keep the birds of prey from seeing it from the air. The bait consists of meat, pieces of beaver or muskrat carcasses that we've covered with a piece of moose skin, so that's going to hide the visual even more. Then we'll make sure to cover it even more with debris, trunks or conifer branches to make sure it's not visible at all from the air. We've also noticed that we're very close to the access roads. If someone was walking around with a dog, the dog would pick up the scent, go straight to the site, and no matter where it went, there would be no snares. So there's no chance of catching it that way. So it also avoids accidental capture of dogs. So Natalie, as a dog lover, I know you're probably concerned about this capture system. We respect the standards of the agreement, which states that animals must have a rapid and irreversible loss of consciousness in the case of coyotes and wolves. We have to learn to work differently with these humane devices.
It's deadly for our dogs too?
Then it's important for trappers to change the way they do things. So one of the main ways to avoid catching dogs is in the positioning of these snares. We have to take into account the dog's behavior versus the behavior of a wild canid. So for example, this is a snaring site. There's a bait on the periphery here. If the dog catches the scent of the bait, he'll go straight to the site. That's normal dog behavior. A coyote or a fox or a wolf, if it finds bait food like that, it's suspicious. He won't go straight for it. He'll move in large circles to gradually approach it, and then he'll sometimes use elevations to acquire what's going on there before approaching it directly and consuming it. So it's here that the snare arrangements will take this behavior into account. So what's important, as I mentioned earlier, is really the layout of the snares. So an acronym, V-shaped formations, I, C, T. And what trappers used to do in the past, we called enclosures.
Yes, this is it.
It's a closed enclosure.
Yes.
This completes it, but this, we put an X on it, so we never use this. This is really to put a bait there and circle it with snares. This is really a trap for catching dogs, catching birds of prey. We don't want that with these systems. Here, the snare site that's currently behind us, the V formation system. Quite simply, we'll move around, we'll do the tour.
Perfect, I'll follow you. I'm interested.
Here we're in the center of the snare system I set in the past few days. But you can still see the line of the road on this side and the intersection on the other side. The bait is really on the point, perhaps less than 10 meters from the road. The other line of snares ends like this. So there's a kind of big V, and this is one of the first configurations we recommend.
Right, right.
What I'd suggest is that we do another simulation, but there are no snares here. We'll just use bait. We'll cover and hide it, then we'll make you move around to see how the dog will react to it.
Is this safe?
Yes, it's completely safe. There are no snares.
Okay, that's fine.
But it's still going to be a more open area to see if it actually confirms the theory we have.
Well, let's give it a try.
Let's do it.
You got to see a bit of him, didn't you? The dog came directly pretty close, We call it questing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was searching, then at some point he picked up the scent, then effectively, that's how we hunt. That's why he got right on the bait.
I think that dogs in general, even someone taking a dog for a walk, would have done the same thing. The dog would have picked up the scent of this place, come straight back here, and not entered the danger zone. That's what we accomplish with this snare system. It's really a question of adapting our methods to avoid the animal coming into contact with the snare before arriving at the bait site.